welcome. Enjoy this time that you've carved out just for you. It's such a special day because Savannah, which I think almost all of us, if not all of us, are from Savannah, and we don't get snow very often. And also, this was something that started last night and then went through the evening. And most of us were resting, or maybe we were too excited to sleep. But then when we woke up this morning, or we got up pretty early, or even just got to see the accumulation, it's such a neat experience to see like a fresh lay of snow. There's no footprints, there's no car tracks, no little snowmen yet. But just like this fresh blank canvas. And as we move through our practice tonight, I want you guys to start with this blank space. And as we move and add more postures, we'll start creating. But we'll try our best not to hold too many attachments to the shapes we're making, because then we're going to let it all go by the end. And with this letting go process, we should feel really full by the end. And when I mean full, this might even be like an experience of like emptiness, because we're starting fresh, we're adding, we're releasing, and then we'll end back in this space, hopefully where we might be beginning, which is just a blank canvas. So let's come to our mats, and we're going to start on our backs. So you'll bring yourself to center. Find your heels over your knees, and then slowly start to lay your body down to the ground. You'll keep your knees and your ankles about a diagonal. Rest your head and your shoulders down on the earth. Get acquainted to the back touching earth and earth receiving the body. And then place your hands onto belly and heart. Once you begin here, we're starting fresh. And we'll welcome in just simple body awareness. So the eyes can close down. And as you connect your hands to your heart and belly, you'll start to feel the breath fill up. And then you might even feel your heartbeat pumping. And you'll just become aware of where you're starting. Like when we woke up this morning, nowhere to go, nowhere to be, maybe even nothing to do. We have this blank day full of opportunity, possibility. Same thing with the 60 minutes that we have here. Nothing but space to create. Give yourself a few more breaths in this blankness, this like right before we start to materialize our ideas. Be inspired as breath moves in and moves out, without holding too much to expectations. And just fall into where you're at, what each new moment and opportunity will offer. And then you can let go of your body. Bring your arms down by your sides. And then reach your hands up above you. And as you do so, lift your hips slightly off of the floor so that your weight goes into your heels. Your glutes become active. And you press your shoulders down into this bridge pose. As you exhale, move your hips back down towards the floor. Extend your right leg into the sky and then clasp your hands behind the thigh, or you can even move it towards the shin. Once you're there, you can gently feel a little pull of the leg towards your face and maybe a lighting up of the hamstring. And then point and flex through your foot. You can even rotate through your ankle. Just take note of the muscles that start to move. Once you've felt complete here, you'll bring your knee at a bend and then place the outer right ankle to the top of your left thigh and then pull your knee away from your face. Could create this flexion in the foot. And then move your arms to a cactus so they're like field goal posts down out in line with the shoulder. And then take your hip and start to move it around side to side. After a few back and forth, almost like windshield wipers that might have been stuck this morning. Maybe you didn't even go out to the car to check. Let the movement be free. And if there is any stuck, just spend a couple extra moments there. And then we're going to try to bring our right foot down towards the left floor. And you'll notice that there might be a little lifting of your hip, a little twisting of your back. If the foot touches, great. If it doesn't, you can just back off slightly. And then from here, we're going to move to a banana side bend. Take it one step at a time. We're going to lengthen our left leg and then curtsy our right foot, either across the ankle on top, or you can separate the legs so that they are uncrossed if you wish. And then with your legs reaching to the left side, maybe even off of your mat, then catch your right wrist and pull the shoulders over to the left side of the mat. So you create like a crescent moon or maybe just like a little bit of a peeling of a banana. You're elongating through the right ribs. Take one more breath. Good. Slowly release. Your hands can stay above your head, but walk your shoulders center. Find your feet to the floor. Set up for bridge. Option to interlace your knuckles. Move them away from the head so the palms face the space above you. And then press into your hips and press into your heels and lift your hips, finding bridge with this like bind through the arms. Good. With an exhale, lower the hips down. Pause. And then remove the clasp of the hands. Lift up your left leg and find a connection with the shin or the thigh. And then a rotation through your foot or even just a flexion and a pointing. All right, once you've had a moment to like become aware of this side of the body. Like this is just the beginning of practice where we're noticing where we're starting. All right, take your hands to those goal posts. Find your outer ankle to the top of the right thigh. Move your knee away. You can even press your left palm to push it down gently. And then from here, allow a little bit of a shake of your hips from side to side. And it's up to your body and where it's at this moment. It could fall left foot to right floor, or you can just keep it somewhere in between. We're really going to spend a lot of time in that in between today. So give yourself this opportunity to get used to it now. Knowing where your limits are and giving a little bit of brush up against them. Good. Okay, this is where we'll extend our right leg. And then you'll scoot your left foot down the long edge of the leg, or you can uncross too if it's a little bit too much. Grab onto your left wrist, move your shoulders over to the right side of the room, and you're in this banana crescent shape. Again, it might be hard for you to see as I'm on the floor here, but I bet you guys are figuring it out just right. And not worried about what do I look like in the shape, but focus more on how are you feeling? What is stretching? What's strengthening? Okay, well, release. Center your shoulders, keep hands above head, find feet centered on the floor. Lift your hips one more time. Option to lift your heels, finding a little bit of this shape with a deeper back extension with the heels lifted. Okay, when your arms start to lower down by your sides and lower your hips too, bring your knees into your chest, rock and roll. You can either come standing up or sitting up rather, or you can roll yourself to the side and then find yourself seated to the top of your space. Once you get there, welcome new faces. We'll find our hands on to the knees for just a brief moment. We're going to do a quick little breath exercise. When you find your inhales, let them be like really natural. Start to fill your capacity of your diaphragm, and then really take attention to your exhale as you move breath out and down from the body. Once you do so, before you take the new inhale, pause in this emptiness. Pause in this space. And then, of course, when a new breath needs to be pulled in, let it come. And then take a nice intentional exhale. And then before you do anything, just notice, what is the body doing with the space? Not exhaling, not inhaling, but just pausing. Okay, and then you'll begin again. Let's go 2 more times. Fill up the body. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Exhale, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. And then pause and just center yourself. Good. For this last one, we'll breathe in, fill it up. This time, as you exhale and let it go, in that pause, can you bring your belly button in and up, almost like you're sucking in your belly, but not in the purposes for anything other than energetically locking yourself and letting any stale air out completely removed from the body. Okay, so you need a few times with that. Just take 1 or 2 more times and inhale to fill up and exhale to release, and then a squeezing in that emptying so that any space of air can just be pushed out of you. Okay, go again, breathe in, lift and expand, open, and then exhale, let the breath go, and maybe find that little energetic lock in the abdomen. Okay, and then just let it go. Any feelings of right or wrong, let them roll from you. Roll over your ankles and come to a tabletop position. Okay, you might even be able to find that energetic lock here in tabletop. So what that would look like is a pushing down through the hands, a tuck of the toe, a neutral spine, and then just take a breath in, take a breath out, and then maybe feel in that exhaling a pause and a squeezing in and up of the belly. Good, so settle. All right, once again, we might incorporate through that in the practice, and if you don't, that's okay too. We'll keep working on it together, okay? From this tabletop, extend your right leg out. Nice. Drop your belly and open your heart into that cow position. As you exhale, round and find a cat. Good. From this cat position, neutralize the spine, find that energetic lock in the abdomen, and then lift your extended leg, flex your foot. Nice. And then kick your heel to your glute. Perfect. And then just do like 1 little pulse up, re-extend, drop the toes, find a rounding like cat. Option just to stay in this cat-like position, or you can pull your left knee into your chest and find just like a little core plank lift, and then exhale, bring it back down to ground. We'll go again. Belly drops, open the heart, lift the crown of your head. Exhale, round through your shoulders, find a cat. Neutral spine, look forward, lift your back leg. Good, active through your back line of the body, and then a kick of your heel, and then maybe a little pulse up. Good, re-extend, lower down. Last one, find a rounding cat, find an opening cow, neutralize, create a lift of the back leg, a kick of the back foot, a little pop to the ground or to the sky rather. Re-extend, find the toes to earth. Go forward 1 more time for that rounding of the cat or a picking up of the knee. Okay, if you can pick up that knee, do. If not, You can set it down, look between the thumbs and step your left foot between the hands, or that picking up of your knee can then propel you to place the foot between the thumbs. Drop your back knee. Good. Bring your hands to that kneecap. Find a low lunge without the arms. Pull shoulder blades up towards shoulders and then together, down and back. Good. Now move your hands down by your sides. Fabulous. Put more weight forward into your front hip and take your chest back. Nice. With an exhale, have your hands frame your leg, start to bring your hips back and find half splits. Okay, we are going to transition a little funky here, so give yourself a little bit of leeway, meaning if you need to find a different transition, you may. Okay, but first, let's bring our hands over to the left side of the leg so you're working your IT band. That long energy from your outer hip to your outer ankle. Nice, and then move yourself forward by framing your leg, move your weight into your front knee, bring your hands to your hips. Okay, now step this front knee back. Good, you're on the toes of your back foot. Start to bring your hips towards that back heel. Good, and now we're gonna bring our hands behind us, pick up your right knee, bring your hips down to the ground. You have your left leg extended, right knee pointing to sky. Once again, if that was a lot on your body and you need to transition differently, please do. Okay, stay really tall here. We're bringing our hands to the inside of our right leg and moving our bodies forward into a fold, reaching for the shin, ankle, or maybe even toes. Your work here is instead of to let your knee fall, see if you can keep it squeezing into the body. All right? From here, start to bend your left knee, catch your hand to the inside of your foot or outer ankle. Bring left hand to back of mat, start to extend your leg and look behind you. So you're twisting, you're finding an elongation in the spine, and a lift in the leg and chest. Gaze can be over your left shoulder. Take one more breath in. And then as you exhale, cross your ankle, roll over shins, come to table. Good. Just a warm up so that when we come into these shapes a little later on, it feels more natural, like you've been introduced to these places before. Okay, find that lock of the belly, one round, inhale, fill up. And exhale to push air out and a squeezing of the belly in and up. Good. Then extend your right leg. Just kidding, extend your left leg. With that left leg extended, belly drops, heart opens. Exhale, do a rounding and a pulling in. Good. Again, drop and lift. Exhale, round and tuck. Last one, breathe in, open. Breathe out, lower. Okay, come back to that neutral spine. So gazes forward, tailbones in line with crown of head. And then lift your back foot. Really strong flex. And then a kick of your heel. And then a lift of the glute. Good, re-extend. Place foot to floor. Find a rounding in cat. Option to bring right knee into chest. Okay, and then return it back to floor. We'll go again. Belly drops, heart opens. Good. Find a neutral spine. Lift your back foot. Flex your heel. And then kick it to sky. A little pulse up. A re-extension. Toes will drop. Find a rounding in the back. Okay, last one. We'll drop belly. Look forward. Breathe in. Breathe out. Find a neutral spine and a lift of the back leg. Flex your heel and kick your bent knee up and a little lift. Find a re-extension, toes down to ground. Well, one more time, cat, and pull your knee into your chest. Right knee is lifted, and then you're stepping it between your thumbs. If you need to lower your back knee and then step forward, do. Both hands to the kneecap. Awesome. We'll bring our weight more forward into the front hip flexor. Take your shoulders and head back. Maybe dangle your arms. With an exhale, hips are going to hinge. You're going to forward fold your chest. Take your hips back to stack over your knee. Then walk your hands over to the right side of your leg. Get a little stretch through the side of your lower limbs. Rest head, rest heart. And start to think here. Hands are going to frame your foot. You're going to move yourself forward. We've been here before. Hands are going to come to our hips for a moment. Okay, take this front knee and step it back. Okay, back toes are tucked. Start to take your heel and your hip to meet. Hands are going to walk behind you. You're going to lift up your left knee. Sit down with your hips to the earth, right leg extended. Once you got there, raise your arms into the air. With an exhale, bring your chest so that it's reaching to the inner thigh. Inner thigh is reaching to shoulder. And you're looking to make connection with your leg, your ankle, or your foot. This is where maybe ideas of what we're creating starts to begin. Like looking at a blank canvas and seeing an image, or seeing snow and finding a way to build a snowman. Bend your knee. Find a catch or a connection of your inner foot. Okay, start to lean back. Open and extend your leg. Right hand fingertips can touch the earth as you look over your right shoulder. Okay, one more breath in this twist and this lift. And then turn your shoulders forward, cross at your ankles, come to a kneeling position in a tabletop. Right arm and left leg are going to reach out in front of us. Okay, and then tap the ground and bend your knees again. Opposite. Left hand, right foot reaches, and then lower. Okay, similar but different. Right hand, left foot, reach, and then kick your heel to the sky and wrap your arm, but do not make a connection. Just a little twist or tease. Okay, bring hand and foot back down to earth. Other side. Right leg, left hand. Right knee bends. Left hand looks over left shoulder to reach. Okay, one more time each way. Right hand, left hand lifts. Bring it down. Left hand, right foot lifts. Bring it down. Right hand, left foot with a twist, a bent knee, and a look and a reach. Okay, come back. Left hand, right foot, a kick of your right heel, and a look behind your left shoulder. Lower down, tabletop, tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Start to come back to breath, but a deeper intention with your exhale. A really beautiful enjoyment of the letting go. Not so worried about what you're being filled up with, but how can you let go whatever comes in? Take your left hand and bring it to the outer right ankle, or you can even just like bring it to the top of your right foot, or maybe you start to turn so you can grab for outer ankle or outer knee and look under right armpit. A little twist. Good. Undo this twist, hands down to ground, and then cross your feet so you're inching your way to a forward fold, but to get there, you're like crossing right foot over left, left foot over right, almost like you're braiding your legs to come all the way to the top of your mat. Here is where we begin to make something, to create shapes that are challenging but rewarding. Okay, from here, we're going to bring our hips down towards the heels. We're in this squat position. Okay, bring your right hand to the right side of you, left hand up and over, so you're leaning to the right of the room. Good. Reset, hands come by sides, hips lift up into the air, forward fold. Inhale, pick yourself up halfway. Exhale and lower yourself down. Breathe in, start to round at your knees, come to a mountain, find your hands up above the head. With an exhale, cactus your arms to goalposts and find a little back bend. And then move your arms down by your side, sink your hips into a chair, and move your arms back up and overhead. Gorgeous. From here, forward fold, hands down to ground. Okay, take your right foot and step it to the back of the mat. Okay, once you get there, reach right hand forward, reach left hand back, and then lift your chest and turn towards your inner left thigh. Once you've hit the shape, your back heel is popped, you're buoyant in the legs, and then turn your arms to flip them. So left hand will go forward, right hand reaches back, spin your back heel in and down, and land in warrior two. You have your hips and your shoulders in one line. Active through your front knee by pulling knee to the left of your pinky foot, okay? Then straighten your front leg, grab up to meet your left wrist, and pull up and back. From here, slightly turn your right toes to face the corner of your mat. Bring your hands to your heart and lean into Skandasana. Maybe your left toes will pop. Keep your chest lifted. Find yourself being able to pivot on your feet. To do so, start to take your chest to the back of your mat. You're going to have your back foot, your left, come down and then pop up. Turn your chest to hover over your right leg. And then from here, hands are going to come to the ground, come to a supported warrior three. I also have a block here, or if you have a water bottle or a book, you can place it right underneath your hands. And then your back foot is lifted. Find your stable grounding. You have your standing leg taking all of the weight as your left leg reaches back behind you, and then flex your heel, kick your knee at a bent position, and then pulse maybe like 2 inches up, 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 up. We'll go 10, 5, 3, 2, 1. Bring your foot to meet your bottom. Come back to that squat position. Left hand to the mat. Right hand up and over, lean to the left side. Same thing, other way. Bring your hands through center. Forward fold, lower your head. Inhale, pick your chest up, halfway lift. Forward fold, bend at your knees, round to a mountain, lift all the way up, hands into sky. And then elbows will widen, heart will lift high. As you exhale, straighten your arms, bend into your knees to drop your hips. You're in a chair pose, facing the back of the mat. With an exhale here, lower yourself down, forward fold, step your left foot to the back of the mat. Once you get there, left hand reaches forward, right hand reaches back, lift your chest, turn towards your bent knee. Look back to your right hand. Okay, flip your arms, turn to face the back of your mat with a right bent knee. Gaze will go forward. Pause for a moment, stay active and strong in your legs. Maybe same thing you did on the other side. Move your knee to the pinky edge of your foot. And then straighten your leg, grab onto your right wrist, and pull up and over. Okay, we're going to keep going in this direction. We're going in a circle, just like a cycle. You're going to start to turn your left toes slightly. Bring your hands to your heart, bend into your left knee, straighten through your right, and maybe flex your toes so they're reaching towards the sky. You can go as low or as lifted as your body wants in this moment. And then turn your chest, face yourself forward again. Back heel will spin up. You're in this like runner's lunge prep. But your hands are going to come down. Your hips are going to go up. You're in downward facing dog. Bring your right hand to the outside of your left ankle or right in front of your foot. Start to turn your gaze underneath your left armpit. Find a twist. Take a breath. Good. Find hands back to down dog. Look to your thumbs. Walk forward, or you can do that crisscross again. Crisscross, crisscross. Okay, once you've gotten to the top of your mat, bring your hips back down to the heels. Okay, this time our hands are going to come to the center, almost like we're a frog. We'll lift up our chest. Okay, from this position, we're going to bring our right hand into the air. Give yourself an opening here. Good, maybe even a bend at your elbow or hand to the skull. One more inhale. One more exhale. Okay, option to stay, or maybe bring your hands and stretch them forward. Or if you want to come to a little bit of a flying position, your knees will squeeze. Hands are going to come over to the right side of your mat. Option to stay or place palms to earth. Start to bend at your elbows and see if your legs can create a connection with the arms like a shelf, and you'll move yourself forward. You'll either play with this little bit of balancing, a little bit of pressure, or maybe even lift your feet and take flight. Okay, once you're done playing, move yourself forward. Lift up through your hips. Breathe in, lift up through your halfway. Exhale, lower down. Rise the spine all the way up. Come high with your hands. With an exhale, widen your arms out, goalposts, and then bring them together and forward fold down the center of the line of your body. Your right foot this time is going to stay on the mat. You're going to let your left foot reach back behind you. Find that warrior three supported. Hips and shoulders are the same for a moment, both squaring mat, but then keep your left fingertips to ground or to a block. Reach your right hand to your hip. Option to reach right hand to sky. You're in revolved half moon. Hips stay facing the earth. Chest starts to open into a twist. Okay, not easy stuff. Take one more breath. And then lower your back foot. Lift up through your arms. You're coming to set up for pyramid. So both legs are straight. Shoulders and hips stack. Bring your hands to your hips. Look at your feet. You're about 2 to 3 feet apart in length, and then another foot or so in distance and width, okay? Tighten up through the tops of the thighs. Maybe even invite your tailbone down. With your hands at your hips, squeeze your elbows back behind you, almost like a chicken. Told you it was gonna come back. And then lower your chest. Good. All right, from here, bring your hands down towards the floor. Okay, you're hinged at your hips, but instead of trying to open them, we're trying to close them. So we're bringing right hip back, left hip forward, strong in your legs. If you have height, you can be up on blocks. Another way to modify this or make it more challenging is going to be to move your hands back behind you. Your thumbs can be on the outsides, pinkies on the insides. Then pop up your back heel, bend your back knee, and then from here, you might lean forward and kick your heel to your glute. So you're in like a very intense forward fold, hamstring stretch, pyramid variation. When you're done, you'll let go. Walk your hands to the inside of your right foot and forward fold, hips up into sky, hands towards the ground. And start coming back to this idea of letting go. You create something, you make art, you make a snowman and then you come back an hour later and it is a melted puddle. Or you're creating a canvas and at first it's one thing, but then it evolves to another and you let go of the attachment to what you thought or wanted. This could even be as simple as a conversation you might be holding on to that's no longer worth your energy. Okay, take an inhale, lift yourself up. We're gonna crawl over to the back of the mat, going in a circle again. You're landing in a runner's lunge. From here, back foot's gonna come up and tuck behind your front leg, and then you'll bring your hips to the ground. Okay, so you're in this cross-legged shape. If this cross-legged shape is not working for you, again, release the attachment to it, and you can just come to a cross-legged position instead. Or maybe even have your left foot in front of your right shin, or you can have your ankle outside of the top right thigh. Okay, then turn your chest towards your bent knee, gaze back over your shoulder. Lift up nice and tall. Good. One breath in, and then really focus on this exhale out, this twisting. The internal organs of our digestion being cleansed. And then keep turning towards the long edge of your mat. Bring your hands behind you. Uncross your feet. And almost like we were in bridge, you're going to have feet to floor, hands back behind you, wrap shoulders, and then lift your hips. You stay where you're at. I'm just going to turn so you can see what this reverse tabletop looks like. Okay, and your head can go back behind you if you'd like. Okay, so once again, we're facing this long edge of our mat. We're kind of going all the way around in a circle. And then bring your hips to the ground, turning back to the front. Left leg is going to come down to ground. Right leg is going to swing out by side you. So you have these 90-degree bends from toes to heel, from heel to knee, and knee to hip. And then your left leg is that horizontal shape too. So you'll have a line from hip to front knee, a line from knee to ankle, and then ankle to toes. Sit up nice and tall here. And then walk your hands forward and down. So you're coming forward like almost like pigeon pose. You can go as low or stay a little uplifted if you choose. And sit here with a question I will propose for you. What happens when we move something back into nothing? Or what happens when we take something on, but then we let it go and it becomes something that we're no longer attached to? Come onto your fingertips and walk your hands over to the left and just experience that sensation for a moment, wherever it's being felt. And then walk your hands over to the right corner. And once again, you're leaning forward, but walking your arms at a diagonal, and just notice. And walk your hands forward and then back to the legs. One little final pose just for fun. And we've had like a variation of it earlier. Okay, bring your legs forward. You can have both knees in to that like bridge pose. Okay, then take your right foot and lift it into the air. You can even offer both hands to the shin. Then find your left hand to the inside of your foot or stay connected to the shin. Then you're going to bring your right fingertips back behind you. Okay, option to do the same thing we did earlier. Lift a leg, lean back. But you can also float your left leg into a boat, whether you keep it bent knee or straighten it out. Okay, so you're in like a boat variation of a twist, turning towards your long leg. Good, guys. One more breath here. So much fun to play with new different shapes and strengths. Then your ankles will cross, roll over your shins, come back to tabletop. Use this other side as an opportunity to release what might be stuck, not allowing anything to own us. Your toes are tucked, lift your hips up into the air. Transition your way forward to a fold, either crisscrossing or tiptoeing, or maybe one big leap. As you fold forward, take an inhale, lift yourself up. With an exhale, lower back down, rise up, come through a mountain. As you exhale, widen arms, back bend, and then move your arms together and glide your thumbs down through center. Okay, bring your hips back to your heels. Once again, bring your hands to the insides of your knees and then widen your knees, bringing your feet together. Okay, this time, left hand's gonna go up into the air. Turn your gaze towards your left hand. Can bend at your elbow or find back of hand to skull as you lean back. Okay, and then when you exhale, move your hands forward or you can stay. One little play with flight. Hands are coming to the outside of your left leg. You'll bring palms down to ground, put a bend into your elbows, shift your feet to the sky if you'd like. If your arms can connect with the outer leg, you'll find side crow or like prep for it. And then turn yourself back. Okay, straighten your legs, forward fold. Inhale, lift head and heart halfway. Exhale, come back down to ground. If you have a block, you can use it. And then extend your right leg back behind you. And with your right leg lifted, then lift your left hand to your hip. If that feels okay, you can bring your hand into sky. So your chest will twist, but your hips will stay facing the floor. Okay, half moon revolved. And then when you place your foot to the floor, then rise up with your chest, arms up above you. Your feet are in two separate lanes. You've got 2 feet about separating from your front to your back leg. And then you have about a foot or maybe half a foot between the width of the legs. Okay, hands can come above you, a little tuck of the tailbone. Hands to your hips. Move your elbows together, fold forward. Before you fold all the way down, just activate through hips. So your right hip will come forward, left slightly back, and then bring hands down to earth or some height. Okay, from here, your options are to just hang out. You want to move into a different shape, walk your hands back behind you. Okay, thumbs are on the outside. And you can pop your back heel, bend your back knee, get a little bit more buoyant. And if you want to take flight, gaze forward, lean weight into front leg, kick back heel to your glute, and find a standing variation of pyramid. Drop your back foot, turn your hands to the long edge of your mat. You're in forward fold. Heels can be out, head can be low. Really great posture for anything that's being stuck in the head space to really have this opportunity to like roll down and out. So that if there's something in the mind, we can help it become more blank. Start to lift your chest halfway. Then walk yourself to the back of the mat. You're gonna land in a runner's lunge, bent knee in the front, straight leg in the back heel popped. And then bring your back leg to meet right behind your front right knee. Bring your glutes down to the ground. You're in a twisted position. Can also become cross-legged instead. Turn your chest to your right leg. Bring your left fingertips around the front of your leg, right fingertips to the back of your mat, and gaze over right shoulder. All right, we're gonna keep turning. Okay, hands come behind you. Turn your legs to the long edge of your mat. You're lifting up for reverse tabletop. Breath in, take your head back. Exhale, lower hips back down to ground. Turn chest to the front edge of your mat, and then you're like side saddling your legs. Right shin is at like a pigeon pose, horizontal shape. You have your knee and hip aligned. Then if you look to your left leg, same thing, these 90-degree angles. Sit up tall and then lower yourself down low. You can go as low as you want to. We're going to try to keep pushing our hips back and down. And although we won't be meditating too much together today, yoga is meant to prep the body and the mind for meditation. And Buddha says something along the lines of, Buddha says meditation isn't supposed to help us gain something, but it's to help us lose something. Walk your hands over to right and left sides of your mat. Take your time. Maybe first start with your left, creating that diagonal shape with the arms. Maybe some of the things that this practice can help us lose are concepts like fear or anxiety or anger. Walk your hands to the other side if you haven't. Take another breath or two so you can really let go. Not just of breath this time, but like taking things that are physical in this world and like moving them towards the spiritual. Walk your hands back to center, lift yourself up. One more little fun twist. We'll move our legs forward, feet to the floor. Okay, start to lean back. Bring your right hand to the inside of your left foot. Left fingertips back behind you. Extend through your leg or maybe even connect to a shin. And then option to lift your right leg to a bent knee position or straighten it out and float your left hand or find any of the variations between. Okay? You're killing it. Remember, we're at that other space where we have the right knee on floor and maybe a similar shape. When you exhale, your ankles will cross. You flip over your shins. Come to your table. From this space, you're going to keep your hips stacked over your knees. Start to walk your hands forward down the long edge of your mat. And as you do so, start to drop your chest. Your gaze will be forward. Your chin can come to the mat or your forehead can press to the ground. And this is similar to child's, but our hips are over our knees. We're spreading through our seat and opening up through our armpits. Give yourself a moment or two here. Intense back stretch, so be graceful. Then you can walk your hands so that you're coming to a child with your hips onto your heels. Reach your hands to clasp the heels. If they make a connection, cool. If they don't, no worries. Your forehead can then come to the mat, or it can hover. And then reversing this shape, instead of like a big back bend, we're going to create like a rounding of the shoulders. So to lift your hips off of your heels, but keep a connection of your hands, a tuck of the chin, and just a feeling like a pull through your vertebrae. If this isn't working, just resting and relaxing in this seed shape is fine too. Feel your belly and your thighs making this connection. And when you exhale, notice the space within the body, maybe within the brain. Hands can come by sides. Lift yourself up. Bring your hips down to the ground. You are practicing with blocks. You can invite a bolster or a block between your shoulder blades. It's okay if you're just flat to the floor. That's cool too. We're going to bring up the soles of our feet together and then lower ourselves to our backs. You need to bring knees together first, then lower to back, and then open knees, or try whichever transition works. We want the flat part of our bone down to the ground with a little natural curvature beneath our lower lumbar. Knees are going to spread wide. Again, if you have blocks, you can, or even just blankets, they can rest underneath your knees if the inner thighs are sensitive in this time. With your hands down by your sides or resting on your body, start to come back to those sensations we might have began with. And even though we have gone through this whole creation process, we are coming back to the same point we began. Fresh, blank space after letting the attachments or our desires for results to be dissolved. Just doing yoga for the sake of moving and having fun. And of course, there are benefits, but we're not caught up in them. Give a few more cycles of breath. For your body to come back to this space of balance, of harmony. And softly start to close your knees, or if you want to have this be one of your final postures, that is an option. You need something in between this and our total final rest. Close your knees. Wrap your right leg over your left, and then come into a twist, bringing your legs over to the left side of the mat. You can always uncross the knees if it's too much. Little eagle wrap, gaze over right hand. Come back through center. Uncross the legs. Let the left foot cross this time. Give a little squeeze of the inner thighs, and then drop your legs over to right side of mat. Gaze to the left. Good. Final time, bring your knees into center space. Let your legs uncross and squeeze here at center. Feel a squeezing, like that squeezing of our belly to let all the air go. Find that here in the body. So squeeze chin to chest, lift up head and shoulders, pull your nose to your knees, get small, 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 squeeze, 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 and then let a breath in as you move your arms and your legs to expand out to the sides. Start to take up space. Breathe evenly. Maybe even remove your awareness from your breath altogether. We'll lay here in Shavasana. And we'll wake us up to the sound of the bell. Till that time arrives, be in the goal of yoga. Not to obtain something, but to move back towards stillness, towards quiet, to beingness. Begin to reawaken through fingers and toes. And you can take bigger motions, rotating wrists and ankles, or stretching your arms up and overhead. You can bring your knees into chest and roll to one side, catching your head on your arm like a pillow. And take a breath here in this space, a reset, a deep, long exhaling of letting go. And then you can rise to your seat, hopefully with this letting go now like a fullness of gratitude. And then when you lift yourself up, layer your hands over your heart. Bow your chin into your chest. Nothingness is the ground to our existence. Breathe in, and a deep exhalation out. Thank you all so much for sharing this time in this space. I hope the rest of your night is filled either with nothingness or maybe something special and sweet.